What's happening, everybody? My name is Scot Mendenhall. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we cover all things Onewheels through podcasts, ride-along videos like this, product reviews, you name it, we're doing it. Today we find ourselves in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Never have I ever rode on these trails before. It's a 2.5-mile trail through the forest down there. I can't remember the name of the forest, Washington State Park or something like that. My kids and I, two of them, plopped in and just said, let's ride and see what it's like. And it is drastically different to be riding on that sandy type of trails where you have switchbacks and you have corner turns, you name it, but no berms, because the tropical storms that come in wash out any features that you would have there. So you are literally riding on some of the finest sand known to man. The view, spectacular. At times the trail gets narrow, but to be able to just ride at sunset and look at the beauty of the state park was phenomenal. We had just 24 hours before this been riding in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, where Dirt Surfers is held. So to have the contrast of trails and features are just straight up different. You couldn't ride the same way. Again, we're just plopping in for the first time and just riding as we go and learning as we go in these trails. Legend and Epic just recently got those full face helmets. They absolutely love them. If you're in the market for a full face helmet, if you live in cold climates, you might want one that would keep your head a little bit warmer. But as we were down there in warmer temperatures, they both talked about how hot their heads were because they're not very well ventilated. Perfect for here in fall and winter and spring, but in these temperatures it was about 75 degrees there as we were riding. They began to say it was quite warm. I have a full face helmet, and sometimes I just feel like the riding today doesn't require that said helmet. But after doing our podcast the other day with Kyle Fun Hansen and Allie, he talked about how he broke his face. And maybe I will, from now on, mob with a full face helmet on. Love the beauty of this state park here. The small palm trees, I'm sure someone will know those, the names for them. They're not probably palm trees, but they are dangerous. They gave me little paper cuts here and there on my arms and legs, and there was nothing you could do about it. You just buzzed right by it. This is a mountain bike course. I don't know if a Onewheel has ever rode on this trail. Definitely didn't see any in there. We didn't come across any wildlife, but however, we ran into a Great Dane, and you'll see that in a little bit here. Tremendously scary to encounter this behemoth of a dog as you rode through. The type of sand we're on here as well isn't really coarse sand. It's really fine. I kept trying to tell the kids it reminds me of like those public ashtrays where it would have sand in it and you could put out your cigar or your cigarette in. Super fine. They didn't have any idea what an ashtray was because those are kind of a thing of the past. Whereas when I grew up, they were everywhere. And so I was trying to teach them that, and I was just like, it's not worth it. We'll just move on as we continue to ride through here. We, not in this video, but we know that there are bears in the woods here. People were telling us how they've seen bears run through here, which I had no idea that far south there would be bears running around in the woods. This again is the Emerald Coast, and if you look that up on a map, it's a long island. You take bridges out of Alabama or some of the panhandle areas of Florida, and you are right on this really long island. There is Panama cities there, Miramar cities there, Destin. Maybe you visited those places. Santa Rosa Beach is right there. One of the cool parts of riding down here, if you love to bolly or bonk, this is a perfect trail for you. These roots were exposed, some 2, 3 inches, 4 inches out of the ground, and you just could bonk them. It was a lot of fun. A rather pretty long bridge here that goes over a bit of a swampy section, which was pretty fun to ride.
What wasn't there?
Even as we drop back into the trail there, we learned a few things as we keep riding in different parts of the United States. Some of you already know these things, but great way to mob steep down hills is the confidence to lean forward in your board, because the minute you get a tail slide going on the GT or XR, it's very intimidating, can be scary at times, because now you're at the mercy of how fast you're going to slide down. The way to counteract that is to lean forward and let the board stay engaged, but it's counterintuitive to lean forward like that, as you want to lean back so you don't fall off the board. Practice it, you'll see what I mean, but it'll allow you to take bigger slopes and get down. As we come across a small flooded section that we didn't know that was going to be there, small lake, we walked around it. Not interesting TV here for you, so we just jumped back into the ride here. Again, this is right as the sun sets. Some would call that golden hour, and it's just beautiful. So for the next few moments here, we're going to just let you listen to the music and just enjoy nature down in Florida. See camera on yet? You got some kids, some groms running around in your family, and it would be awesome to surprise them with a Onewheel, because it's so much fun. Yes, I could have come and rode this by myself, but for those two boys, they got to experience something that they'll never forget. Being able to ride on different trails teaches new skills, and we are riding GTs. That's why it's only the three of us. We didn't know if there'd be enough battery to ride the trails and get back to where we were staying. So all pint users and XR users had to stay home because just the unknown. We ended up riding, I don't know, well over 6-7 miles in this state park. You're going to see 2.5 miles of it. And it's worth dropping in on with a Onewheel for sure. The scenery alone is spectacular. Coming from Minnesota, we don't have anything that looks like this. Those tall trees, I don't know what kind of trees those are, but they are like a Christmas tree style, an evergreen style, but they grow really tall and drop some of the largest pine cones I've ever seen. Just look at the beauty of that. So it allows you to just see over, in a lot of the sections, see over the brush and be able to see what's coming up in front of you. And it just made for a really enjoyable, fun time. At times, we're mobbing and going really fast. Other times, because it's brand new to us, it's a little bit of a seek and find situation here. We're looking for the spots where you can go fast, and sometimes you have to slow down because you don't know what's up ahead. But that's what makes dropping in on new locations so much fun. And the reason why we did 7+ miles in there is that we turned around in some of the sections and rewrote it again because of now knowing, okay, there's this section where it's really rooty. You can bonk that really solidly. Oh, the switchbacks in these trails are really cool. There's a couple spots where there's a skinny or two. And now you're prepared for it, so you know what to expect. And the beauty of it really for us to ride trails is some of the draw. The other is it tests your ability. So if you're a street warrior, do me a favor. Go find a local mountain bike trail that allows Onewheels on it and go ride it. Ride it at your speed and your skill level, and you'll see, yes, at first it's a little scary and a little unknown. Like right here, we're trying to decide, what way do you go? You turn left, because it's not really well marked. But that's the adventure of it, is figuring out some of those things. It keeps you young. It's good for your mind and your soul to get out there and try those things. So if this doesn't push you over the edge to go ride some trail, I don't know what will. Because it's so cool to be able to know, like, and we're not unique to this, but to know that we ride in Minnesota and those trails are very different. In Wisconsin, different than Minnesota. To ride in Arkansas, drastically different. Because it's like shelly rock that's been graded up by the earth, so it's not really dirt, which very different from all the sand that we're riding here. I recently took part my GT after getting home from this ride. There was so much sand in there. If you ever ride on just straight sand, it's not a bad idea to open up or pop off your bumpers so that you can get out the sand or dump the sand out, because it's just it gets stuck in all the crevices on your Onewheel. I'm sure it's fine, but it was nice to de-weight the board by a few grams of sand coming out. I'm sure we could get in trouble for how much sand we brought home from the beach, and that's just from us throwing these in the back of our vehicle and being down on the beach every day. There is so much sand in our car. I don't know if there's an illegal amount of sand bringing back. I'm sure there's not. It's more of me kind of having a laugh here. And back to that, trying new things. Honestly, being comfortable really robs us from life, right? When we're comfortable, that means we're no longer trying new things, so therefore we're not growing, we're not learning to fail or fall. We're comfortable. We're okay with the status quo, and I love being able to change the status quo, as here, bumping into this Great Dane, as we're talking to the two people that are in there with this Great Dane. It created a little attention in us because we've been chased by big dogs before in trails, and there's not many places for us to go, and the owner's saying, it's cool, you can just ride by. And I go, hey, have they ever seen a Onewheel before? There's the Great Dane. He's like huffing at us and growling, and I just said to him, we've learned that if an animal has not seen a one-wheeler and it's a close proximity to said animal, we'll just carry the Onewheel. We don't need to make the dog or the animal on edge. And I was reassuring that it's not your dog, it's us. We've been chased enough and just different things to learn. When we're in those trails, let's just walk by them, get back on our board. We don't need the owner to feel bad about their dog, and we didn't need to have a story of like we got bit by a dog either. And so we just walk by. It's some of those kinder things we can do in trails. And it doesn't make us not want to go to another trail because of the fear of the unknown. It actually is like, ooh, what's going to happen in this ride today? What are some of the obstacles we're going to have to overcome? And I think that's part about life, is taking every obstacle, every setback, is to look at it as more of the positive side. I know it's probably a cheesy saying, but every setback is a setup. I know some of those setbacks are tragedy and unseen things. The truth be known, we're out mobbing this, and we're probably a couple days removed from my brother-in-law passing away. We got the news while we were down there, and it was heavy stuff. And we could have shut it all down and just said, man, this is a setback in life, and we just knew that, man, it's a setup for something will replace the pain that you feel inside about the tragic events or the loss of a job or those things. And it's to deal with the grief that you have to go through, but also with the small expectation of, I wonder what's on the other side of this, and to not stay in that state longer than necessary. And hear me, everybody's grief stage and handling those things are longer than others. There's not a prescribed, it should take you 3 days for the loss of a job, 1 day for the loss of a pet. No, that's unkind to think those things. It's progressing through those times in life with intentionality to grieve and to mourn, but to not be paralyzed or locked down in those moments, to progress in the healing stage and talk about your grief. And even as I'm saying this, is part of my process of healing, is to just share, like, as we're filming this, we just found out about it. So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, as I'm saying it here, but you're listening to my voice. It was a great ride. After this, we're headed straight down to the beach to check out the waves and maybe get a ride down on the sandy side of the beach. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening to us. It's always a pleasure to bring you fresh, new content on this channel and getting a chance to hopefully teach you something. Bye.